sort of.
And we're not talking about women, sir. We're talking about 6-year-old little girl.
6-year-old little girl.
Aisha was 6 years old when he molested her.
Okay, well, that's out of my realm.
Thank you. That's a big difference. I understand young brides. There's nothing wrong. If two consenting adults want to get married, be engaged, have relations, fine. Can you please come to the mic?
That proof that she existed, the little girl?
Oh, yeah.
Well, all I have to go on is what the Muslim scholars have produced as their own history.
Right, but you're saying that the Muslims were pedophiles, and actually...
No, I said Muhammad.
Wait.
Well, hold on, you're accusing me of something I didn't say. Slow down.
It says down here.
No. Muhammad had a child bride. I'm not saying every Muslim is going to follow in his footsteps. I'm saying he left an example that if they do that, they're not condemned for it.
And what's the problem? I mean, they can believe what they want. Some things are
You don't have a
obviously
problem
wrong.
with pedophilia?
Well, obviously I do, but there's 10 million pedophiles who are Christian priests in the U.S.
Well, even if that was the case, I'm not a Catholic. Priests don't come from the Christian church. They come from the Roman Catholic Church. I'm not a Catholic. So if you find more pedophiles, that's fine. We condemn them all. But just going from Muhammad being a pedophile and say, well, he did it too, that's called the ad hominem of tukul, where you say, well, he did it too. And that's a logical fallacy. So I understand. I understand that people have molested children throughout history, but that doesn't justify Muhammad's pedophilia. We can't go around doing that.
No lighter,
No, you can probably get some up the street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, here's what you have in the Muslim literature. The Prophet was engaged to me. This is Aisha's own testimony. When I was a girl, 6 years old, I was playing in a swing with some of my girlfriends. Unexpectedly, Allah's apostle came to me in the afternoon, and my mother handed me over to him. At that time, I was a girl of 9 years old. Another volume says the Prophet married Aisha when she was a girl of 6 years of age and consummated that marriage when she was 9 years old. Muhammad was in his 50s. That's a 50-year-old man taking a 9-year-old little girl to the marriage bed. Under what circumstances could you ever justify such an action? You couldn't. Christianity condemns that as pedophilia. Islam exalts this man as a prophet of God. I don't know how they can sleep at night doing that. Yes, sir.
Me thinks that you harp too much on something that might be culturally accepted in those days.
Not in my culture.
And I say that, well, that's what I said, in those days.
Not even in those days.
Culturally accepted.
Not even in those days. Let me correct you, not even in those days.
All right, whatever. But
not whatever.
I don't want to argue about it.
Time out. See, this is the problem, folks. What he is speaking about is the misinformation concerning 7th century Arabia. I will ask anyone standing here tonight, or go to a professor of history to bring me the historical evidence that child brides was the cultural norm in 7th century Arabia. Now listen to what I'm asking for. Historical proof, not Muslim sympathizers that will say it was the norm. I want the actual proof that in 7th century Arabia, child brides was the cultural norm. You're only going to show that the whole culture was perverted. Fine, doesn't justify the action just because the majority did it. But I've never seen that evidence.
Okay, so you claim that you're telling the truth about Muslims. Based
About
on,
Islam.
About Islam.
Islam in particular.
Based on information that you got from the hadiths.
Not only the hadith, many different Muslim sources.
So, what other sources did you get the information about Aisha from?
Well, you have the life of Muhammad, which is by Ibn Ishaq. You have Al-Tabari. You have the Sunnah, which is basically recording the traditions of Muhammad, the life and practice. You have a lot of different materials from different scholars that agree. Let me just show you. First, let me ask you a question. Do you know what the hadiths are?
I do.
What can you explain what they are?
They are. What is history? Well, before we switch the subjects and switch.
No, I'm on the subject because that's the material I'm going to quote. I just want to know that you understand the material.
I do. So let's assume that I'm telling the truth. I
won't do that because Muslims are fond of lying to me. And if you are a Muslim, I have no reason to trust you, sir.
Okay, well, we are supposed to ask questions, and I'm assuming get answers, right?
Of course, but I'm going to follow a line of logic.
You're going to follow my question with a question.
If that's what it merits, yeah. You see, I first have to know that you're an educated Muslim before I get into an intellectual discussion with you. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time and yours. I don't want to do that, because if you don't know the materials that I'm quoting, nor their authority within the Islamic community, you'll dismiss them as if I'm just quoting anybody.
The hadiths are accounts of what the Prophet said and did by people who had a close relationship with him or who came after him and were familiar with him.
Now, what is the authority of these hadiths?
They were checked numerous times.
But what weight of authority do they carry within the Islamic community?
Extra salty.
It varies.
According to?
According to which hadith you're referring to.
Let's take Sahih, which is Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim.
Those carry a lot of weight. They are held to be very accurate by many Muslims.
Well, not just very accurate, but accurate, because the word Sahih that is placed in front of the name of al-Bukhari says that it's authentic.
Okay, so now we have established that I do know what the hadiths are.
But you're now going to have to establish that the word Sahih means authentic. It's not questionable.
So I agree.
Okay, so that's the material I'm going to quote. If over 80%, let's be generous, let's say over 70% of the Muslim community in the world, which is Sunni Islam, embraces the hadith, now I have the majority of Muslims in the world agreeing with the material I'm going to present. And that is the authority that I'm going to appeal to. Not my own. I'm not going to appeal to those terrible Christians and Jews or the infidels. I'm going to appeal to Muslim scholars on their own revelation of their history, of their prophet, of their Quran.
Because you believe it's true.
Because I believe they have recorded it as they believe it to be true.
But you don't believe it's true.
Some of it is questionable, some of it is unverifiable, so it's up to the historians to determine which ones are actual historical records and which ones are embellishments of the man known as Muhammad.
So, in other words, you're saying the sources that you're using in your presentation, claiming to be a truth defender, you believe some of them are lies and some of them are the truth. In other words, you're not sure if the information you're presenting is accurate or not.
No one does.
But you do.
No one does.
Me?
Yeah, you do, right?
Just the Muslims do.
So just to summarize, you're making a presentation claiming to be a truth defender, someone who is looking out for the truth, but you're using sources in your presentation that you're not sure if they're accurate or not.
Because nobody does.
But why would you even go towards it?
Because wait, I'll tell you why.
Just go towards the
You're misunderstanding,
are true.
No, hold on a second. You as a Muslim, if you are Sunni Muslim, must accept this as truth. So all I am doing is teaching people about what Sunni Islam believes in their religious faith. Now, if whether or not it's true or false, you believe it. And what I'm doing is enlightening people to the reality of what Muslim theology is, which is a threat scheme, or the statement he's making is flawed in this way. The position of Islam based on the Quran and the Hadith is not contingent upon the people that quote the material or what the people that quote the material believe about the material. I am simply teaching people what Muslims believe. It's irrelevant if I believe it or not. And according to Muslims, their prophet molested a little girl. Do I believe that happened? It's irrelevant. Do they believe it happened? Yes. And if they believe it happened and Muhammad was the greatest example for humanity, then child molestation is okay in their eyes. So we need to expose this so that when we see a Muslim, we tell them about what Muhammad did according to them. If Muhammad molested a little girl and everything he said and did, from the way he wiped his butt to the direction he urinated in, is what the Muslim is to emulate, it also follows that if Muhammad molested Aisha when she was 6 years old, all the way up to the age of 9, finally consummated the marriage by penetration, then it's okay for any Muslim to follow in that example. Do I believe? I don't believe the Muhammad of the religion ever existed as he's presented by Muslims. They change history, they revise it.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and